I'm the scat man. I'm the scat man.
It's Thursday. Welcome to Covers His Puck Props with 14-year NHL vet Carlo Colaiacovo, presented by Sports Interaction. A real stinker of an evening. 2 games, 2-1. I thought when things got a little silly on the double power play goals in Toronto, Colorado, that we were going to break out.
Yeah.
We did not.
Did not.
I don't know who had a worse game or worse night, us or the referee in the Leafs game who assisted on the winner.
What was he doing, man? I don't get it.
I don't know. But like, what are you thinking? All you're hoping for is that Colorado scores or that doesn't hold up as the winner, and it totally does.
Yeah. It's a weird one, man. Think about the way that game went. We saw 2 power play goals on the only 2 power plays that each team received, the Leafs and the Avalanche. And then the third period, the Avalanche get a power play, and you're like, oh boy, this could get ugly. And the Leafs score a shorthanded goal. And it's the difference in the game. Like, who would have thought a game between those 2 teams would have finished 2-1? Crazy.
Absolutely nailed the outcome of that game. Lots of goals, could be 7.
Yeah.
No, just brutal. It's been a grind, but it's something that we should obviously touch on. I mean, I posted the stacks. All stacks over last week are like down 15 units. Ones I've told people to bet on are up 16 units. That's the good news. But you've seen unders hit at like a 58% rate over the amount of time. You mentioned that maybe it would be like 1 week, 2 weeks before everybody got back up to par. I think it's more of that. Here's a month, and then we're crossing over to playoff game territory now, and you're not going to see many 6.5s. You're not going to see a lot of games. So you just kind of see things tighten up.
I know you look at the 14 game slate tonight. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 games of the 14 have an over-under total of 6.
Yeah.
And everything else is 5.5.
And that's where it is. I mean, the price of those stacks and the point props are relative to the game team total, but you're just not seeing it. You're not seeing two-way scoring as much, certainly, right? As we saw Seattle, nothing. Minnesota's in trouble. Producer Mick saying, like, comment, subscribe, do all that for the pumpers. Let's get something going on a Thursday. Giant slate, tons of basketball today. I'll be tailing some covers picks. Be putting those out. Putting my own money on other people. I absolutely am terrified to tail people because you just end up hating the person. Like,
why am I going with this guy when I can make my own picks?
I've done that just so I can live, and like at the end of the day, you're like, well, your picks suck, and you just have to live with it. You lost your own money. That's what I do enjoy. So 1 in 3 day, minus 1.9 units. We got the Hartman point. Yeah, what are you doing? What are you doing? Bobby Newport says, if you're here and if you're not hitting that like button, which you guys are pretty good at, but let's pump those views up. I appreciate everybody sharing. Let's get things going, ready for playoff atmosphere. Notes. Let me go down to quick notes. I had to write some notes out because there's 14 effing games, and it's just, there's so much moving.
Yeah.
Jacob Markstrom, here's the rundown. Jacob Markstrom starting. He's 1-4 straight up in his last 5, 4.23 goals against, .829 save. He's been terrible. Georgi Romanov will start his first game for San Jose today. He's had a couple relief appearances, but this will be his first start. The Islanders are running a 2D-man power play with Dobson and D'Angelo. Carter Verhaeghe's been moved to line 2. Rodriguez has been bumped up to line 1. The Flyers are 4-8 straight up since the break. Bottom 4 scoring offense. Bottom 7 goals against. Worst power play. Bottom 9 PK. It's ugly. Massive game in the Western Conference standings for Vancouver, St. Louis. St. Louis is 9-2-2 with the number 1 scoring offense and the number 6 PK since the restart. Both tied with 69 points. In the Eastern Conference, Montreal Islanders, massive game. Montreal sitting 73 points. Islanders at 70. Jet Greaves has been sent down to the minors. Elvis Merlikin's probably ready to go. And JJ Peterka likely back. That's your little rundown. Let's go, Toronto Rangers.
Wait. Take a drink of water because that took a lot out of you.
Yeah, I have to go from like being a monk working by myself in the office to talking so much. Like it's
Man.
I don't know. I gotta.
How about before we move on, before we get to our picks, Darren Folk says best pick for a shutout on this big slate. Remember me and you talked a couple weeks back about how almost every night there's been a shutout in the NHL. I'm just looking at the board right now. I think Washington, depending on who plays against Philadelphia, has a good chance to get a shutout. I think the Ottawa Senators, if Allmark plays, I know they're playing Colorado, but Colorado's a different road team.
Correct.
St. Louis at home against Vancouver. Vancouver's a different road team. Who else could you possibly be looking at as a shutout? Montreal, maybe, with Montembeault, as good as they're playing against the Islanders team, who's literally used 2 third-period 4-goal comebacks in consecutive games to win. What do you think?
Vancouver. Vancouver's my pick. Vancouver getting shut out.
So St. Louis shutout. What does that pay? Binnington.
I don't know. Like every time, you might as well just, if you can, just hit all.
What about guys. Vegas? Vegas at home to
and
Boston.
Then Vegas is my number 2. Vegas is my number 2. So every Vancouver player not to get a point is plus 850. So yeah, you'd probably want like 10-1 there. Like that's the thing; it's all relative to the price.
Right.
If I'm getting a shutout, I don't want to pay any less than 850. That's for sure. Like you kind of want your 10-1 somewhere in that range. But it might be under season here soon. So let's go Toronto Rangers. Rangers minus 130, over under sitting at 6. Austin Matthews anytime goal. Let's go. Plus 115. Plus 115. I know last night's goal wasn't stereotypical goal, but 8 shots on net. Guy was firing. That's the most he's had on net since November. So he's got that going. I'm like, he's kind of been banged up. Second of a back-to-back. And then you look at the San Jose game log, which was the second of a back-to-back after the Buffalo game, 25 minutes. So they're not afraid to play him. Should be a competitive game. Now, the hard part here is the Rangers coming off that game, that 2-1 game versus Calgary, who was also on the second of a back-to-back. They were not happy with that effort. They scored first. Panarin got in early, and then they were outshot something 35-14. They've been sitting on it. Is that a dangerous team to play right now? They've only scored 2 goals in their last 2 games, but is this kind of not a gauntlet that they're going into, but maybe a buzzsaw for Toronto coming off that win?
Well, it's the 3rd game in 4 nights for the Leafs. And clearly, if you're a Ranger, like a New York Ranger player, you've probably been getting pee-pee whacked the last couple of days in the media and in video meetings and stuff like that. So you would have to think that the appropriate response for a team that is supposed to be looking and playing desperate, you'd probably see something close to their best game of the season tonight.
That's kind of what I'm afraid of, right? I think Toronto might be playing a little bit from behind, but I think Toronto scored first in like 7 straight games. If you're looking for another prop there, Toronto to score first. I mean, back to back, the legs are there. I like it.
Yeah.
If I can get that at around even money, it might be something I add. Depending on,
I kind of feel like this could be a game for the Leafs where they grind it into overtime, and just if they lose in overtime, at least they can say they salvage a point. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
But it'll be a big game for the Rangers because, I mean, I'd be very, very surprised if the Rangers showed up with the same effort that they had the other night in Calgary.
Agreed. And speaking of PP whack, did you see JT Miller take one in the pills?
I did.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That looked painful. That looked very painful. Oh, you ever take one in the pills in hockey and like to the extent of having to like go throw up?
Yeah, lots of times, man.
And to go on the bench and then go throw up?
Yeah, a couple times that happened. Yeah,
Puck or stick?
Mostly stick, because back in the day, the move as a defenseman used to be to hike your stick between a guy's legs and just pick him up and drag him.
Yeah.
Out from in front of the net. And so you get into those stick battles in front of the net where you're just constantly just trying to lift guy's stick and lift out of position. And sometimes you just catch one in the pills.
Yeah, the old Jofa jock that had the extra taint protection. That's what you need. That's the
But when you do block one there, like with a puck, like you feel it.
You ever take a Shea Weber shot right to the pills? No. Hardest shot you ever saw?
No. God, I'm trying to remember the guy's name. It was in so when I was playing in Europe, we were playing the SKA team in the KHL, SKA St. Petersburg.
Yeah.
And it was a team that both Datsuk and Kovalchuk played on.
Yeah.
And I'm trying to remember the guy's name. It was a defenseman, and he had an absolute bomb of a shot, right-handed shot defenseman. I got to figure out the name. Anyways, I got the call to go on the 5-on-3 penalty kill. And all these guys like Ovechkin or Kovalchuk would set up behind the net, and he would just float one into this guy just to step into one. He did it a couple times. And so on the 5-on-3, you're out there. I'm representing Canada. I'm trying to earn a spot on the Olympic team. I'm like, I got to go block this shot. So it goes from Kovalchuk to Datsuk, and he like literally lays it into this defenseman to walk into it. I'm standing up now. I literally walk into this and I go like this. I close my eyes and I go like this.
Nice.
Because I'm like, just hit me in the shin pads. Just hit me in the shin pads, because that's where I have protection. Don't hit me in the skate. I don't want to break a foot. I don't want to do anything. And
belly button
hit my stick.
Oh, it came up.
Deflected into the goalie. And because I went out like this, right?
Yeah.
And they scored on the rebound. But all I kept saying was, please, just don't hit me. Because I don't understand when guys go out to block shots when they turn around backwards. It's like, you got no padding there. All your padding's in the front. Hit the shin pad, hit the pant, hit something, everything. All your padding's in the front. These guys are turning around, taking in the back of the calves. No chance.
It's a solid 5 minutes on getting pucks in the nads and getting hit hard.
I'm going to try to find that guy's name.
All right, you find it. I'm going to talk about a stud over in Nashville. We go to Anaheim, Nashville, because chronologically I'm throwing it out the window. Nick Blankenberg. Holy, you heard about this guy? You know this guy? Have you heard anything about Nick Blankenberg? Anyways, PP1. But he's actually split time with Brady Shea, and I was trying to figure out where it was, so I had to go back to the game log for their last game.
I got it. Patrick Hursley.
What's he doing playing? Oh, he was an import.
Dude, he had 14 goals and 35 points in 43 games as a defenseman in the KHL. This guy had an absolute bomb of a shot. YouTube Patrick Hursley slap shot. Yes, look at this guy. Look at this guy.
Look at the size of that guy's neck.
Look at the size of this guy. See if you can find one of his slap shot goals, Mick. And you tell me if I wanted to stand in front of that shot. This guy was putting pucks through nets.
All right, he's looking that up. Anyway, Nick Blankenberg, we'll get that. Nick Blankenberg point, plus 600. Went back to see where it was because him and Brady Shea had been splitting time on that first power play unit. And keep in mind, Anaheim has the worst penalty kill in hockey since the restart. So a great matchup there. It was Blankenberg who got the start in the third period on their last power play.
So they might be out?
What?
Is Yossi out?
Yeah, Yossi's better still be out. Yes, it's Shea and oh, here you go.
All right, watch this. Watch this. It went through the net.
Where'd that go?
It went through the net. Watch. Through the net.
Oh man.
This guy has an absolute rocket missile as a shot. And I had to go block that.
I'm glad you said for a shot at the end of after saying rocket missile. No, Roman Yossi's out. He's on the IR. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. That's it.
So that's it. So
plus 600. Let's go.
So he'll get the first crack. He might be off. He might not play the full amount, but I think he's going 50-50. But that first one's pretty good. Matchup's great. And then Leo Carlsson for a point here, plus 125. Carlson playing on top line, PP1. No stack now because he's playing with Killorn and Gauthier. Minutes are up. 14 points in 14 games since the break. And he's pointed in 10 of his last 14 games, which is around plus 9 units at this price. Former number 2 behind Bedard. He's getting some minutes, getting some run here at the end of the year, and his game's been great. Nashville, obviously.
Okay, so hold on a second. In a 14 slate NHL night, we're picking Nashville and Anaheim.
But we talk about games that are meaningless for both teams.
I know that's
it.
That's
that's where you target things, right? Colorado, Toronto, goals. No, let's go to Dumper Town in Nashville, Anaheim.
It's so funny.
And bet Nick Blankenberg and Leo Carlsson for stuff.
That's awesome. I love it.
Yeah, and there it is. Like Carlson shooting 2 points the other night. He's looking good. Love it. Thank you, Bobby Newport. Took it like a champ. Let's go. Montreal Islanders. Simon Holmstrom here for 2 shots at minus 105. Haven't hit this market much, but I will take anybody top line PP1 who's playing 20 plus minutes. He's leading all Islander forwards in time on ice because Patty Roy just likes his guys sometimes. He's such a favoritism coach. And right now, Holmstrom's getting like 20 minutes a game, which is wild. He's at home. Montreal, like you said, they've been winning. So it could be the other way in terms of the Islanders chasing. And I would absolutely love that. He's hitting a couple games. His numbers aren't crazy, but this role he has on that top line with Palmieri and Torvet, not so bad. But here you go, your boys. Montreal, number 1 in points since the restart at 8-18. That's crazy. 8-1-2 record, plus 1.4 goal differential per game. Is this sustainable for Montreal? Or perhaps did they start the hot streak a little too early? Because running this for another month is going to be really tough to do.
You know what? It's a really good question. And I think that's where people get a little hesitant when trying to jump too far in on this Montreal run, because they had this run from the month of middle of December to middle of January. And everyone's like, oh, Montreal Canadiens. Yeah, this is the year. Let's go out and get more players and make a playoff push. And then they came back down to earth right before the Four Nations break. They lost like 5 or 6 in a row, but going into that. But now they come down guns a-blazing, and you look at the way that top line is performing with Suzuki, Caulfield, and Slafkovsky. Their power play with Laine. Their goaltending with Montembeault, who has the number 1 statistic when it comes to goals above expected for goaltenders coming out of the Four Nations break.
Pause the show. Carlo's referencing expected metrics here.
Yeah.
Holy shit.
I can't believe I did that, but I was doing a game the other night and I was looking, what my pregame story was going to be. And Montembeault was, one of the ones I was choosing between. And I couldn't believe he was like 6-0 or 6-0-1 going into that game on Tuesday. Now he's 7-0-1. He's played some of the best hockey. He's been one of the best goaltenders statistically since the Four Nations. If you're getting that type of goaltending, you're getting that contribution from your special teams, both power play and penalty kill. I mean, you just look at the teams that they're competing against. Can you believe in the New York Rangers? Can you believe in the New York Islanders? Can you believe in the Columbus Blue Jackets?
No.
Can you believe in the Detroit Red Wings?
No.
Like, why can't the Montreal Canadiens continue to believe that this could be their year they get in?
Yeah, I think if they just played slightly above 500, they can get it because unless Igor goes on a run, I don't think
the Rangers are in the worst position out of all this because they're 1 point out and they have 2 games more than everybody else that they're competing against.
Still need a term for the not in hand, right?
I know,
2 games more.
What did you call that?
Yeah, no, the Blue Jackets. I haven't seen. The play's really fallen off a cliff. They put the lines. They got new lines together. The introduction back to Chinnikov in that lineup hasn't really helped out. Jack Greaves was playing well. They just shipped him down. Elvis Merlinkins will go. So interesting to see what goes. But Montreal, I think they got a 40, 45, 50% chance.
32% chance on FanDuel on Sports Interaction as of yesterday.
Oh, my man. Like it. Nothing wrong in
I did
believing.
the stats yesterday.
Love it. But yeah, there's two ways to look at the Montembeault thing, right? Like he's playing above his expected numbers. So like, will it come back down to play at that sustained route? It is really difficult. So we'll see. Looking forward to it. I want Montreal in. They're my choice. But I mean, when you're getting what,
Montreal
1,000 points from Christian Dvorak on Tuesday, like where were my other guys? Where was the line they knew?
I know, 4-point night for Dvorak. Going back to the Montreal thing, if Vancouver gets in the last wild card spot there, which way St. Louis is playing, it's kind of hard to predict that they will. But they're still grinding away. If they get in and Montreal gets in, 6 out of the 7 Canadian teams would be in the playoffs this year.
Amazing.
Yeah. Tariff that.
Colorado, Ottawa. Speaking of Canadian teams, Ottawa, slight home dog here, -105, total sitting at 6. We talked about the stacks, we talked about it, but like, I still can't not get away from it at this price. Cousins and Batherson for a point each at +240 at home. Second line, PP1, Colorado back-to-back. Colorado's been a much different team at home than on the road, as we've seen. And it's just, it's a price that I need to get. This stack has hit in 3 of the last 4 games. It hit at +225. It missed at 320, which was crazy. We had half of that. Toronto was +250 and Boston was +260. So there hasn't really been a giant price change in this price. If you're the Leafs, hate to bring everything back to the Leafs, rank this in order because we got to get going here because we got a basketball release coming up at 10:30. If you're the Leafs, rank these teams in order who you want to play in the first round. Florida, Tampa Bay, Ottawa.
Ottawa, Tampa Bay, Florida was the way I would rank them.
I don't think there'd be any other way. You're hoping Ottawa gets that 7 spot. You're hoping you win the division. So we mentioned before, Tampa Bay and Florida can just beat each other up. No?
Yeah, that's your hope.
And
if you get to the second round, I mean, you're playing with a new level of confidence, right? It's like
until you get all marked.
Yeah, you got 8. Yeah, exactly. That could easily happen if you're the Sens. You're one of 8 teams remaining. You get to the second round, like remember when Florida upset Boston as the 8th seed? Everyone's like, we want Florida. We want Florida march their way to the Stanley Cup final after that. Just got to get out of the first round, man. Anything can happen.
I think once this price dips under that +190, +200 range, then I think you just go Cousins if he can get his point at +110. I think that's where it is for second line guys. But anything in the 200s for second line PP1 guys, almost a price. Same thing we had yesterday with Nichushkin and Drouin. Didn't come through, but I think second line PP1 guys is always a buy at +200. Carolina, San Jose. Carolina, a giant -340 favorite on the road on the West Coast.
Oh, Jackson Blake,
top line, PP1. His line mates, Sebastian Aho, -310 for a point.
And he's -110.
Plays all shifts with him. And then Seth Jarvis is -230.
Wow.
I know. So Georgi Romanov making his first start. He had 3 relief appearances. Split some time in the AHL and the ECHL in 23-24. His numbers aren't great.
Sorry, which goal are you talking about?
Georgi Romanov.
So Georgiev.
No, it's Georgi.
So his name is Georgi Romanov?
Yeah.
Okay. I thought you were making fun of Georgiev.
No, Georgi Romanov, just with a G. Yeah.
In San Jose.
San Jose. Yeah.
Wow. So they got Georgiev and Georgi Romanov.
Yep. That's they got.
I thought you were playing games with me there, man.
And Askarov still down. So we'll take it. Top line's +200 for a full stack here. Carolina has been off since the 15th, which is crazy. Is this a strange schedule spot where they practiced yesterday at home?
The Carolina did?
I believe so, yeah.
And so they practiced yesterday and then left. Yeah, it's not that bad.
Okay.
Yeah, it's not that bad. It's usually how it happens.
Good. So they've been at home. They've been living that family life for what, the 5th? I mean, 5 days off is about as long as you get, especially with everybody playing a lot.
Guys are going to be horny tonight.
Oh, jeepers. Maybe they'll be out. Maybe they'll be not aggressive. You know what I mean? That's what happened. Oh, thanks, Super. We do rule sometimes, but that's boom. That's the end of it. I was trying to look because I got like all the weeks, last week's one, and then my next thing written on my report here is Brady Schaefer point, which is not it. That was last week. So that's the card today. Watch out for the stacks. Like, don't just play. All stack game is over. There's some spots to hit stacks, yes, but scoring is down in general. 14 game slate. Pretty hard to spread things out.
Hey, we found Blankenburg, though. We found Anaheim, Nashville. Two promising plays.
Damn, yeah. Josh, can you put the kids to bed? No, babe, I'm watching Ducks Preds. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's where it is. Carlson and Blankenburg are our boys today. But if you're here and you haven't, hit that like button. Appreciate everybody there. Appreciate the shares. Appreciate everybody jumping on Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, 10 a.m. Back tomorrow. Let's go. Dumper Town. That's where we go. That's where we find value. Value is found in Dumper Town. 10:30. The boys are dropping NBA picks. And then we got college basketball. I'm going to bet it today.
Are you?
Yeah, I'm going to bet it. Of course I am. Okay. I think I'm going to have big action at 12:30.
Okay. What's the first play today?
I don't have a play on the first game.
Okay.
I do have a play on the second game. It's not my play. I didn't originate it. I forget who is. It is. Who plays it?
Well, Louisville, Creighton.
Phil Nesson's play. Purdue, Smith, over 2.5 threes made plus 130. And old producer Mix all of a sudden originating prices. There you go.
There it is.
Smith. I'm on Smith for 3.
Creighton money line. Louisville minus 2.5. Don't they play each other?
10. How do you play first to 10, Marcus? You guys are crazy. The variance is so crazy. Yeah. All right, but that's it for hockey. Giant day. March is rolling around. The sun's out the field hitting balls yesterday.
Sun's out, guns out. Let's do it.
Let's go. Carlo will have a mustache tomorrow. He promised me. We'll leave it at that. All right. Appreciate it. I'm Josh Ingles. He's Carlo Colaiacovo. This is NHL Puck Props presented by Sports Interaction. Lead us out, bud.
Ciao, ciao, ciao.